Your season of isolation was necessary. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. And yes, that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates. So if it doesn't apply, it's not for you. Don't force it. So let it fly. But most importantly, grab your pens, grab your papers, and be prepared to take notes. In this video, we're going to go over and discuss why our season of solitude was mandatory, as well as some recommendations, some reminders, some disclaimers, and what to be aware of when embracing the unknown. Starting off with the disclaimers, starting off of what you should be aware of. Your season of isolation was necessary. When you are embracing isolation, when you are sitting by yourself, there is a reason. There is a purpose. Now, you may be asking me, Ty, what is the reason? What is the purpose? That is for you to discover. You see, what nobody is going to tell you about embracing the unknown is that you have to change, which means your mindsets, your patterns, your beliefs, subconsciously, consciously, physically, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, are no longer going to be compatible with the future version of yourself, with the best version of yourself. Why? Because that was a version of you. You've had to experience certain experiences and circumstances in certain moments, in certain chapters in your life to learn certain things that help you become the best version of yourself, or to remind you that this is not compatible with you. Your season of isolation was for you to reflect, was for you to identify what's for you, what's not, was for you to figure out who you are. If you don't know who you are, how are you supposed to know where you're supposed to go? How are you supposed to know what it is that you're meant to experience? How would you be able to be open to receive the messages and the downloads from your God, your ancestors, or the universe? Take what resonates, leave the rest, because we're not here to force religion or spirituality. How would you have known? How would you have learned to have discernment when it comes to certain people, places, and things? How would you have known when certain people have your best interests, or when certain people are going to betray you? How would you have known how to get yourself out of poverty? How would you have known to learn to save and invest? How would you have known to take care of yourself, let go of the attachment and the trauma and the trials and tribulations if you weren't with yourself? Our isolation season is a necessity, and it's detrimental to our health. And don't beat me up for that word. You know what I'm saying? The second thing you need to be aware of is that when you're in your season of isolation, you have to go through it. I know. You're like, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Well, that's not too bad. Keep digging. Like, what could you do? In your season of isolation, when you're stepping into the unknown, you realize that what you used to think, what you used to believe is no longer compatible with you. So now you have to create a new identity. Now you have to change your vocabulary. Now you have to expand your mindset. Now you have to become educated. Now you have to let go of any limitations and any blockages when it comes to yourself and growth and belief and fear. You can't think the same. And that's only uncomfortable when you weren't taught and shown how to expand or how to grow, or if you never believed in yourself. Let's really get into it. When you grow up in dysfunction, when you grow up less fortunate, when you experience trauma, and even if you didn't grow up in dysfunction or you were less fortunate, when you are used to living a certain type of way because you were programmed to think a certain type of way, that's all you know. But when you want to change, when you want to do things differently, when you want to live a life that you've seen before, but you haven't experienced it yourself, it causes you to have an identity crisis. It causes you to let go and become a different person. It causes you to do things that are considered to be unfamiliar and unknown. And a lot of times when you don't have support, or you don't have faith, or you don't have confidence, if you don't trust yourself, God, ancestors, the universe, you think it's so hard. You think sitting in isolation is uncomfortable. I'm here to remind you that in this season, you need to take your time to figure out what it is that you need to do. Because when we're programmed and taught to do certain things, a lot of times it's projection and deflection. This doesn't mean our parents and our teachers and the people that raised us or who groomed us or who taught us and shown certain things were not good people or that they didn't know what they've experienced, but that was their beliefs. That is what they wanted to do. When you elevate, when you become the best version of yourself, when you're destined to have a prophecy to live a certain type of life, you can no longer take what you have been installed, or you take certain parts of the things that you've been installed and you amplify it. You grow. So your mom, your dad, and the people you went to school with and the things that you used to be familiar with may have taught you and shown you certain things. Good, bad, positive, negative, right? Inappropriate, appropriate. When you become conscious, when you grow, as you mature in life, you then get to make decisions for yourself. A lot of times in life, we didn't get to make decisions for ourselves. When you're learning how to make decisions for yourself, you have free will. It seems overwhelming because you're used to being controlled. It's not to say that everyone is controlled in a form of manipulation or to be sabotaged or to be take advantage of, but some people are. And this is why too a lot of people struggle with their season of isolation and being alone, because they're so used to having codependency issues. You're so used to somebody telling you what to do. You're so used to having things being handed to you. You're so used to other people making fun of you and not having a mind of your own, not thinking for yourself. It's not scary. When you learn that in your solitude is when you're the most powerful, because you're able to think for yourself, you're able to make decisions for yourself, you're able to consume your own energy, you're able to realize who it is that you want to be, you're able to realize what you don't want, you're able to realize, okay, is this for me if it's not? But it's like, when you're in this season, you have to be vulnerable, you have to be honest. You have to realize you went through certain things in your life based off of what you were taught and shown. If you knew better, don't you think you would have done better? And if you knew better and you still decide to go against the grain, you got popped. In life, our decisions sometimes are permanent, sometimes they're not. In this isolation period, you're able to identify if you made a decision and it was permanent and you had certain consequences, or if you made a decision and you're able to change it. When you are being taken away from certain people and places, things that you're once familiar with, it doesn't have to be bittersweet. You have to realize that life is constantly going to change. Life is constantly going to go evolve. So are you. And of course, like I said, when you've never had a mind of your own, or you never had confidence, or you just were lost, it seems so overwhelming. And I'm speaking from experience. It's really not. What has helped me along my healing journey to be in my seasons of isolation was to, number one, just be grateful. You genuinely have to be grateful, because it's like, as you grow in life, people are going to come and go. Rather they pass away, or physically, you guys are just no longer in each other's lives. Like, you're going to grow apart from certain people, places, and things. This is why it's so important that when you're in certain people's lives and vice versa, you treat yourself well and you treat them good. So when it's time for them to leave, you don't have the attachment issues. You don't have abandonment issues. And that goes with anything: a job, a car, a person, an environment. We as people have been so conditioned to have attachment issues that people don't realize that detachment is a part of life. Even with yourself, physically, we are not going to live forever. Death is inevitable. You're not always going to have your body. So it's like, when you're in your season of isolation, these are really crucial moments. A lot of times people think that when they're in their season of isolation that they're missing out. You're not missing out on anything. Outside is not going to go nowhere. Now, this doesn't mean that certain events and certain things are not happening or taking time to, manifest into experience. Like things are not, what's the word I'm trying to say? Things are not, going on. Like there aren't events happening in the world. But if you were meant to experience them, you would be experiencing them. And it's like when you elevate and when you're stepping into the unknown, you have to be okay with having moments where you're not always outside or when you're not always active, because you have to focus. A lot of times, what you think you're missing out on is distractions. If you're not where you want to be in your life and you're not happy, you have to be able to sit in solitude so you can figure out where it is that you want to be and what it is that you want to do. Now, if you're complacent with your life and you have everything and you've done everything you feel like you need to do, okay, cool. But most of you all watching this, that's not your reality. If you want to live a certain life, you have to do certain things that you are not used to doing. And it takes time. So when you're in your season of isolation, stop trying to rush. Stop comparing yourself to what everybody else is doing. You're not them. You sitting with yourself is so necessary. And of course, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that where they are right now is where they need to be. But there's a reason why you are where you need to be based off of your past. And a lot of times when you're evolving and you're healing, you have to let go of the victim mindset. And that's going to be a different topic within itself. Like when you've gone through dysfunction and trauma and trials and tribulations, and like I said, you weren't taught and shown certain things, you have every right to feel upset and frustrated. When you were a good person and people betray you, nobody's trying to validate your experience. I'm speaking from experience, but it's like it wasn't in your control. You weren't aware. You didn't know any better. You were innocent. And it's not to justify the abuse and the trauma and the dysfunction, but speaking from experience, what could you do other than become better? You have to realize those people who went through a significant amount of trauma and trials and tribulations and had to overcome those situations are strong people, are people that you can't mess with, are rare. You're unique. You're individual. You're not like everybody else. Most people are very fortunate. They don't have problems. That's good for them. But if you're somebody who's experienced adversity, you can't compare your life to other people and what everybody else is doing outside and what you used to do. You can't go back in time. The best thing that you can do is heal yourself. Let go of the people and the places and things that are no longer resonating with you, because it's going to happen anyways. That's what a lot of people do not understand. Like some people do not understand what they have until it's gone because they were so familiar with it. They didn't understand the value, rather it's a people, place, or thing. Not just that, because life is constantly evolving and changing, nothing is going to stay the same. The only people that stay the same are the people who never took the time to sit with themselves and to heal themselves. And this is why you have a lot of people who are envious and bitter and miserable when you don't have to be like that. Healing is not for everybody. So don't expect everybody in the world to heal. Don't expect everyone to be like me. Don't expect everyone to be like you. They're not. You're watching these videos with intentions. You've been asking and praying and you wanted a sign. Be intentional. You're either going to take your time to figure out who you are and what it is that you want to do in this life, and you're actually going to make it happen, or life is going to go by and you're only going to get older in life. But your season of you sitting with yourself is necessary. You don't want to hear that? That's the truth. You're not going to know why you had to sit in isolation or why you had to go through a certain chapter or a certain season in your life until you overcome it. And that's the truth. Speaking from experience, I had to learn that the reason why I was sitting in certain chapters, why I had to go through certain things, was for a reason, but where that reason and where that purpose was taking me. Some seasons may last years. Some seasons can last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. You don't know. All you can do is just grieve. All you can do is recover. All you can do is change. All you can do is grow. You just have to know that when you're in these seasons and they seem like forever, that it's going to help you get to where you need to be. Because that's all you can do when you're alone. All you can do when you're by yourself and you don't have family, you don't have friends, you don't have money, or you feel like the world is against you, all you could do is believe in yourself. If you don't believe in God, ancestors, the universe, all you can do is become confident. That's your only choice. Like, that's like when people say when you hit rock bottom, the only way is up. Unless you stay there. And we're not staying where we don't need to be. We're not staying around people and places and things that no longer resonate with us, that no longer are compatible with us, that are no longer helping us grow. Because that's why a lot of people get in the circumstances that they're currently in. Because you stayed around certain people and places and things that weren't even for you in the first place, that were distractions. And that's going to be a different topic within itself. If you want me to talk about that, let me know and I'll make it into the next video. If not, I'm going to end off the video with that. But I need you to know your isolation season is necessary. And there's a lot that you're supposed to be figuring out. You don't have to rush. You don't have to compare yourself with certain people, places, and things are being removed out of your life. Let them go. Don't try to fight it. You need to figure out what needs to be done and what needs to be gone. And most importantly, when you're in your season of isolation, you have to realize that you're growing. You don't have to be afraid to grow. You don't have to be scared to grow, even though it's unfamiliar. It's just something you've never done before. And you don't have to, like I said, feel like you're behind in life just because other people are living life. Like, people haven't gone through the things that you went through. There's no reason for you to be embarrassed or ashamed about your circumstances or where you are or what you had to go through. Because I'm telling you right now, a lot of people couldn't even never do what you do or have gone through the things you went through and still continue to move forward. Because that's the truth. When you're in your season of isolation, you still have to show up despite where you want to be or not. And it takes a strong individual to do it. So I love you. You are loved. You're not alone. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for watching this video all the way to the end. Thank you for turning on your post notifications. Thank you for commenting down below, turning on your post notifications. I think I already said that. Thank you for liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. Follow me on all my social media platforms if you're not already. All the information is down in the description box below. Booking your service and your session in my website, which is in the description, and heading to TikTok and on Instagram, because I'm about to talk about this and break this down and go live. If not, DM me on Instagram if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and maybe you just feel like you're a little, confidential. But yeah, our isolation season is necessary. What we're meant to learn is for us. We don't have nothing to prove. And just be grateful, because in due time, it's going to come to pass. And if you want to know how I know, think about all the hard times that you survived in your life and you just thought you was never going to get out of them. You did. And as long as you wake up every single day, you're going to grow. Life is going to change. You just can't have expectations on something that you've never done before, because you don't know what to expect. Okay? Love you. Bye.